Hey, what's going on, guys? My name's Slcmof, back again with the video, and today I'm going totally off the record. This is just something that I was thinking about, and I just got home, and I wanted to talk about Gal Gadot, I don't even know how to say her name, really, but she'll be playing Wonder Woman in Batman v Superman, releasing in March 2016. And next to Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor, this is probably the most contested casting for a character in the film, and like I said, Jesse Eisenberg, he's pretty high up there. A lot of people didn't like him as Lex Luthor, but I'm confident about him. I think that he's going to provide an interesting take on the role. Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, however, that's pretty unanimously agreed upon by comic book fans, that she just simply does not fit the mold of the comic book character of Wonder Woman. But I will say, as someone that's not super into Wonder Woman, has never read a Wonder Woman comic book in my entire life, I will say that I actually do like Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, even though she does not fit the mold of the Wonder Woman comic book character or any of the iterations of her at all. She's very different from any other, version of her that we've seen in the past. And the main thing that you'll see is her body physique, I guess, or just her overall weight. In Wonder Woman comics and in previous iterations of her on the silver screen and whatnot, Wonder Woman has always been much thicker, and she's always been not only kind of stronger, but just like kind of heavier offset, not like fat, but you get my point here. Gal Gadot, on the other hand, many people were complaining that she's simply too skinny for the role. However, for the people that are critiquing her weight and her body physique, I understand that, and I think that's a valid argument, but I think that there's a much bigger concern there, and that is her actually as an actress, nothing to do with how she looks or anything like that. You have to think as well that Gal Gadot, from what I understand, she was in Fast and Furious 7, but she was basically like a model in that film. I've never seen it, but from the people that told that I saw, and under the agency listing that listed her, she was actually listed as a model, not an actress on the film, because she had so few lines on presumably. So she was in Fast and Furious 7 because she's attractive, right? So, and other films I imagine she may have been in are small at most. So this is really her first big film, and not only Fast and Furious 7, of course, is a big film, but it's her first time in a big film actually taking on a significant role. And although we don't really know what role Wonder Woman's going to be taking in this film, we can assume that if she's in there, it's going to be a significant one. Because the fact of it is, she simply is not too hard to look at. I mean, most people would agree with me that she is quite attractive, and many of you would think, well, that doesn't really matter. I mean, it's as long as she's a good actress and she looks more like the comic book version of the role, then that's better. But that's really not the way it works. And I'm not saying that there aren't better casts for Wonder Woman. I'm not saying there are other actresses that could have filled the role better than Gal Gadot here, but I'm saying that she, from a standpoint of only looking at a few seconds of her in the trailer, she's an excellent choice. And I personally don't think that she's all that skinny. I don't really see the issue with it. I know she doesn't fit the mold of Wonder Woman, who's like, in the comic, she's an extremely kind of bulky, incredibly strong, but I think that if they really iterate the fact that she just has superpowers, they don't need to, exaggerate, her physicality, because she really looks like a man in many iterations of the comic. I mean, let's be honest. The way she's so strong, she's stronger than most men are. To me, this is just a new iteration of Wonder Woman, and I think this is going to work out very well. She's got the black instead of the red, white, and blue. That kind of, I don't want to say makes her less cheesy, but in my opinion makes her more formidable. And we saw in the very little bit of actual footage of her when she's, puts her hands together and there's like a massive orb that goes, fucking expanding from like around her in a circular shape. I mean, that was pretty cool. So I think another thing that we're gonna have to look out for is that she apparently appears to feel more strong in terms of the superpowers that she has than the comic book iterations, and I know in the more recent comic book iteration she's actually been able to fly, when previously she's never had that capability. So it may not be the case that she's actually stronger, but her abilities may be more varied and a little bit more maybe useful in terms of this particular film. Not to say that she's stronger in the films than in the comic, because it almost always is the case that the comic book character has stronger abilities and is overall better than the film iterations, just from the technical limitations of actually illustrating these incredible, capabilities on screen is just hard, so they tend to dumb those characters down. That's particularly the case with Batman, who, in comics we see him take down like 15 thugs at a time, and in film you just can't simply illustrate that, and it's not feasible. The fact is, you have to go into this with a totally open-minded approach to Wonder Woman, and you have to understand that this is Zack Snyder's world, and he's really building the beginning stages of this new DC phase that's going to be continuing into 2019. He sets the stage, really, and we are at his mercy. Whatever he wants to do with Batman, that's the Batman we're going to see in the Batman standalone. It's the Batman we're going to see in 2017 with Justice League 1 and in 2019 with Justice League 2. It's the same with Wonder Woman and her Wonder Woman standalone film, and Jesse Eisenberg, of course, is going to be, I'm sure, popping in as Lex Luthor throughout the rest of the films and everything like that. So we have to keep that in mind, that this is Zack Snyder's and it's going to be different from what we know. Jesse Eisenberg is even more different than Lex Luthor. I mean, just his hair alone, and the pictures we saw, he was bald, but it looks like in the trailer he has a full head of hair, at least through a majority portion of the film, or in some portions of the film. Regardless, you get my point. This is going to be a totally different take on her. You have to go into it with an open mind, or you're sure to be disappointed. And I remember in 2008 when the Joker came out, and everyone was like, "That doesn't look at all like the comic book character. That looks terrible." I mean, there's no other way to put it. I don't like that, and that's what people said when Heath Ledger was cast as the Joker. People didn't like it. They didn't see how he would fit into the role. And then later, this, The Dark Knight is considered one of the best, if not in my opinion, the best superhero film ever made, and the best interpretation of the Joker ever seen on the big screen. So we just have to keep that in mind, that this is going to be different, but I think it's going to be good, and I really like her, and I think that she's a good actress, and in the interviews and everything like that, she seems like she's really into what she's doing, so I think it's going to be good. So guys, let me know what you thought about Gal Gadot being cast as Wonder Woman, but also any other characters that are kind of cast. Do you like Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor? Do you like Ben Affleck as Bruce Wayne, etc., etc.? Let me know what you think in the comment section below. My name's Slcmof, and I'll see you later.
Who said anything about running?